Welcome back, everybody. It's time again for another hour of this weekend of online conversations through Comic Art Live. John Suntress here from the Word Balloon Podcast. Happy to welcome one of my oldest friends in comics. Go right to the beginning of Word Balloon. It's Mike Norton, everybody. Good to see you, buddy. Yes.
It's Thank good God. To talk to you, John.
I miss you, man. It's so ridiculous. We literally live like 20 minutes from each other, if that.
I was talking to my wife about that today because we were talking about conventions and things like that. And I think we've kind of gotten used to it. I don't. The idea of going out somewhere is kind of intimidating now.
I get it. No, I get it. We're only a couple of weeks away from C2E2. Will you be there?
I won't.
Wow.
This is the first one I will not be at.
Wow.
And it really has nothing to do with the show. It's all about, I canceled all the shows I was gonna do this year, and I didn't think it'd be fair if I went to this one and not the other ones. And I'm still a little freaked out by it. And I just figure I didn't get on the list in time.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the things, like, it kind of helped me make the final decision when I was like, maybe I will. And then I was like, oh, I'm past deadline, so I'm not going to try.
Well, and again, we're local, so it's not a big deal. But I'm so amazed at the out-of-towners that are coming. And it's like...
I am too.
December, Chicago in December.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm a little we were just talking about it. I miss everybody too, so I get it. But at the same time, like I said, I got used to everything. Yeah. Still kind of busy. It's the holidays, and so there's a lot for me to, just say no to. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad people are coming. Like my friend Sean McKeever's coming into town. A bunch of other people are coming. Get to say hey to them. I'm just not going to be setting up a table.
Okay, good. Well, then I'll see you after hours. Obviously, that's good to hear.
Oh yeah. I'm still actually thinking about scheduling a dinner or something. I haven't really decided. I have to go because I've been working on Mystery Science Theater 3000 now.
A comic version of Mystery Science?
No, the show. I've been working on the show. Proper. Yeah, I've been doing production design for the new 13th season, and I did all the prop design for the tour that's going currently, and they'll be in town that Saturday, so I'll be going to see that night anyway. So that's what I'll be doing on Saturday of C2E2.
Okay. Wow, that's great, man. Oh, I'm so glad that's happening. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. It's kind of a dream come true. So
I can totally see that. So I know, am I right? Isn't Joel Hodgson the original host? Isn't he still like kind of
he runs it all, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was actually Todd Knock who did do the Dark Horse comic of Mystery Science Theater, hooked me up with them, and I've been designing stuff for him since February. So
that's amazing. My favorite thing that ever happened that I got to witness, I was going to interview Svengoolie at C2E2 where they do the autographs and they got their little backstage area and stuff. So we're getting ready to shoot, and all of a sudden Joel Hodgson walks up.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he's like, "Can I talk to Rich for a second?" I'm like, "Yeah, Svengoolie." And he shakes his hand, and he's like, "I just want you to know, obviously, your show was a major inspiration for our show." And he's like, and then he goes, and this is before Sven. Well, maybe this was early, about 5 or 6 years ago. So Sven was national. He's like, "I can't tell you how many of my celebrity friends, comedians especially, love your show." Yeah. He's like, "It's Jerry Seinfeld's favorite show." and it's Rich. Rich is just Chicago. Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, if you look at Twitter on a Saturday, it's Saturday night that he plays.
Yeah, tonight. Yeah.
If you look at Twitter on a Saturday night, a lot of it's like when wrestling is playing, you see a lot of little tweets and they're all talking about Simguli or wrestling, or in my case, Joe Bob Briggs. Sometimes
I love Joe Bob.
Yeah, so I see it. I know when he plays. I just sometimes I don't flip through. I don't have like a regular cable anymore, so I have to.
I understand.
Yeah.
No. Well, and obviously you got to get the digital antenna going to take advantage of all the sub channels below, the networks and everybody else. And no, it's on MeTV and everything.
Yep.
And in fact, I don't know about the rest of the nation, but at least in Chicago, literally after our last panel tonight, it ends at 8:00 Eastern time and 7:00 our time. So it's right in time for Svengoolie.
Everybody go watch it.
Absolutely, man. And won't interfere with watching us.
I think Joel mentioned Svengoolie when he was here. He came and visited the studio, and I think he mentioned Svengoolie.
That's great. Hey, you gotta. All right, and again, I'll talk to you after the show. That's
okay.
But no, I love Joe Bob, and in fact, I guess Brody Mullet also says, "Good name, Brody Mullet." I think I've seen your movie, Brody Mullet, there, or your
Brody Mullet. Yes,
I like that very much.
It's a comic by Dan Johnson, isn't it? Brody Mullet.
You see the crawl underneath us. That's where you can go to buy some of Mike's amazing art.
Oh, Mike, yeah.
Your stuff is a bargain.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is older stuff, so they mark it pretty cheap. Okay. Because I don't think I've drawn on paper since 2007, maybe.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, so there's not a lot of it left. And it's not like it's a collector's item. So
no, but Mike, I pulled some images, and right away I want to show this is a steal.
Oh, and right, yeah. Nobody's bought that.
And
that was a cover, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and folks, I'll say the price: $700 for this incredible shot of Connor Kent and Superman fighting each other. Art and Franco wrote the story, I remember distinctly. Many times, not only on Young Justice, but Billy Batson and The Power of Shazam. You guys had a great, significant run there.
One of my favorite books I've ever worked on.
And in fact, as you say, it's been so long since you've done paper. One of my favorite memories is we're either flying to San Diego, flying from San Diego on shitty Spirit Airlines. Yes, I said shitty. I said that. I don't want Mike to get in trouble. But I'm in one row, Mike and Tim Sealer in the other, and I'm watching Mike draw on his Cintiq The Power of Shazam and stuff while we're flying. It was awesome. It was really interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing about the new technology, especially now with an iPad. That 4-hour flight, isn't as much of you don't have to complain so much about losing a day's work.
Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely, man.
Well, there's a lot of guys that just do it on their iPads. So.
Of course. No, and honestly, even, I helped Bill Cox recruit for this show. And as I talk to artists and stuff, it's like, all right, who's still drawing on paper and stuff?
Yeah, it is something you have to ask now. Yeah,
absolutely. Here, I'm going to show some classic moments. This is from Metamorpho Year One.
Oh, I love drawing that too. That was on paper. Yeah, that was Jesse Delperdang inked it.
Wow. And so that's Simon Stagg obviously getting Rex Mason at gunpoint. That's awesome. I was just in Baltimore, and Ramona Fraden, she wasn't there, but she was selling pieces, and I got this great green arrow from her, and it's another person that sells her art way too conservatively.
Yeah, I love hearing stories about Ramona because in this day and age, you're always ready to hear the stories about people that are terrible in the business, and I've never heard a bad thing about Ramona Fraden.
Have you met her?
I have never met her. I've seen her. I've been near her, but I've never gone up and introduced myself or anything.
I was able to buy a Metamorpho sketch from her in person, and was really glad to do that. And then
which is easy to do also.
They had these two guys were repping for her Friday and Saturday at Baltimore Con, and they had literally dozens of these great like 8x8 square sketches. Batman, Superman, Metamorpho, Aquaman, obviously. I have 3 pieces from her. I've got this Metamorpho one, the Green Arrow one that I bought at Baltimore, and then also I don't have an Aquaman, but I have a Namor from her.
Oh,
and I like that it's a Namor. So yeah, that's kind of neat. And she does that. I don't think she ever actually officially drew for Marvel, but she certainly does a lot of Marvel hero sketches.
Sure.
So
yeah, I always think of her as DC. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but 95 years old, still going. God bless her, man. She's amazing.
95.
Yep.
I didn't know. Wow, that's crazy.
And friends who help run Fan Expo were telling me that, like, one's like, oh no, I talked to her like a month ago, still razor sharp.
That's awesome.
So yeah, man, that's seriously, man. When you hear about the 80 and 90-year-olds that are still like razor sharp and kicking ass, it's like, fucking go. Nice going, man. Mm-hmm. And again, I think she has something to do. She likes doing this and everything. And I'm glad these guys are out there selling their sketches for
That's the best case scenario. That's where I want to be.
Absolutely, man. I'm so with you. All right, let's show some more art from you from back in the day. This is great. This is from Trinity.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Trinity.
And it's such a great splash page of Green Arrow in action and stuff. So I love that. Again, very reasonably priced, kids. I'm just saying. Listen, we're talking, we're having fun, but I want to help Mike sell this stuff.
Really, thank you. I appreciate it, John.
And Mike, if I had the bank account, I would have beaten everybody to it right now and bought a shit ton of this stuff.
I forgot who inked that because I had so many different inkers on Trinity. There were a lot of us doing the backups. There were 3 of us, but I know we had different inkers. I know Andy Parks did a bunch of them, but I don't think that he did that one.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Here's another piece. I believe.
That's Superman Confidential.
Yep.
I got to draw who are those guys again? What did I forget? The Forever People.
The Forever People, yeah.
I love those little beatniks.
Absolutely. And you get a little boom tube action.
I think that was the first comic I ever inked of my own.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I love your Superman face.
I love drawing Superman. I don't think I'm the best at him, but I do try to draw the classic face that I remember from being a kid. And I throw a little burn in there because I can't not. That was one of the first DC comics I ever bought. So
well, that's interesting because I was going to say I think your Superman face is very much a cross between Byrne and Kurt Swan.
Yeah, I mean that would be what I was. Thank you. That's what I was going for.
One time,
here's the thing. When I was a kid, I was just like everybody else. I'm like, Superman's so boring. You can't really do anything with him. Batman's where it's at. And now I am completely reversed. And like as an adult, there's nothing less interesting to me than Batman, but Superman I could draw all day. And I don't know why that is.
Well, I'll even go a step further regarding Kurt Swan. It's funny. I was just telling Bill Cox in the last hour, I own very few pages. I own a JSA page of yours where it sure as hell looks like you cast me as the mayor.
Oh, yeah. I did definitely draw you in that.
So it's awesome that I'm talking to
you. You're definitely in that JSA issue I did.
That's awesome. And I've got that page from you. I have a great Doug Brathwaite Bill Reinhold Punisher page.
Oh, wow.
That I'm very proud of and stuff. But I bought for one of my birthdays, I bought a Kurt Swan page. It's just Lois and Clark dialogue. Superman's not even on the page, but I love it. And further, as you said about just Superman in general and drawing him and stuff, that's my line as far as when I hear a podcaster go, I hate Kurt Swan. His stuff is so simple and it looks like a little kid's book. It's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That guy was a genius.
Yeah, there are. I mean, you can. It's not just comics. It's just anything. If somebody, they kind of just show their ass when they say things like that. It's like, hey, I just raised the sign that said, I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, I mean, that's what kids say. Kids say that kind of stuff. Kids that haven't been around and learned because I was like that. I mean, Steve Ditko, who I have artwork of on my arm when I was a kid, I was like, this guy can't draw. What are you talking? This is horrible. Because I was so used to seeing like Ramita and Andrew.
Yeah, the clean stuff.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I was like, ugh. Because when I started buying comics, like it was, I think Ron Friends was drawing Amazing Spider-Man, who's clearly like very, Kirby influenced and stuff like that. And then they were putting out Marvel Tales at the same time, which were reprints of the old Ditko. And so I grabbed one of those one day and I was like, oh, what is this? And then that you learn.
Yes.
And you're just like, wow, this guy was on another level.
Frank Robbins is like that for me when he was doing the Invaders. But something in the back of my brain even then clicked where I'm like, this is really ugly. I don't like it. I'm still buying this book, and there's something about this art that I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was an adult. And then also seeing his comic strip stuff, his Johnny Hazard comic strip, holy fuck.
Yeah.
He's amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah. There are artists like that where they draw, you look at it and you go, this, I don't like anything in here, but it has just elicited a response from me. And I know that this isn't bad. This is just, I won't name artists because it sounds like I'm insulting them, but it's actually not an insult. It's like, this is their style, It's like,
yes. Well, I read someone, by the way, we're going to have him tomorrow afternoon. I'm not going to interview him. I'll get Howard when I need to, but Howard Chaykin's going to be on it. I think.
I love Howard. Yeah.
And I saw somebody complain about Howard's stuff and go, all his faces look the same, and it's like that's style.
Yeah,
that's not a mistake. That's
you can make a joke about that. I can make a joke about that. I think that's funny that he does. But the thing is, he's always drawn the same face, and the same face is him. Like from like 40 years ago. Yeah. And it's like, I'm cool with that, man.
I still am.
Because you look at like Reuben Flagg and you're like, he drew himself. He drew himself in that comic book.
Absolutely, man. That's hilarious. You're right.
I love Howard Chaykin.
He's the best.
We were at a convention with him in Spain, and my wife just fell in love with the guy. And when it came time, we were putting out the Battle Punk compendium. I was like, I need to find somebody to write the intro. And my wife goes, why don't you get that grumpy guy from Spain? And I'm like, are you talking about Howard Chaykin?
Did he do it?
No, I didn't ask him because I didn't. He's an intimidating guy. Even when he likes you, it's still. And I'm like, here, write an intro for this book. I know you haven't read, and I don't want to make you read it.
Yeah, no.
He would have probably been very, accommodating, but no, it is.
Well into me knowing him, I was having technical problems, and he's very like, hit me on this day, or late morning my time. That's like a good window where I can talk. No problem. It just wouldn't work. And I'm like, the whole time, like, oh, he's going to hate me. He's going to hate me.
Yeah.
Laughing. I mean, he's still a grumpy old man, but he really is like a much nicer, calmer person. And truly, as you know, one of the best dinner companions you could have, the stories. It's
just, yeah. I mean, he has this exterior. I mean, there are guys like that in the business that they give off this, you're afraid of them, but they're really nice people when you meet them. I've had this from the opposite too, where people say that I'm intimidated because I'm a giant and I'm never smiling and I look like I'm about to stab them or something. I look like the killer in a slasher movie.
I don't know if you remember this. We were at a really tiny show we met in 2005 or 6. I had you on the show a couple of times. This is before I really got to know you and Crank and Scotty and those guys and stuff. And I think even Brian Salazar of Around Comics had the same experience where we're like, hey man, and like we're trying to have casual talk, and it's like, hey, I really hope I'm not bothering you. I don't want to be like, Kathy Bates or anything on you. And you were a sweetheart, man. You put your hand on my shoulder. You're like, John, we're friends. It's cool.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
you know,
I have to remind people sometimes because I do come off like.
Well, but Mike, like you've said yourself, you spend, I mean, a good portion of your day hunched over the drafting board.
Oh yeah, sure,
man,
yeah.
and you get into your work. So no, it's, I mean,
No,
it's fine.
it's
But
my personality.
Once we crack the veneer, you're America's guest. You're great, man. Don't kill yourself. You know that. So here, I'm going to show more art as we're talking. Let's see what we got. It's the truth. All right, here's Marvel Adventures, Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's with Sean McKeever. That was my. No, it wasn't my first Marvel work. Gravity was my first Marvel work, but yeah, that was fun to do. I got to finally draw Spider-Man.
And also, yeah, mentioning Gravity, I didn't grab a Gravity page. There are lots of Gravity pages.
Mm-hmm.
And how awesome is it that truly you and Sean created a hero for the Marvel Universe?
It's amazing. It's something I didn't let myself think about for a long, long time. And I mean, we make a lot of jokes about it because the character has sort of become a joke. You know, whenever you need somebody that's not quite Great Lakes Avengers loser, but you want to make fun of somebody, some writer will pull Gravity out. You know, yeah, he's like the punching bag for all comic writers.
As long as they don't kill him, as long as they don't.
Well, they did that immediately after.
That's right.
They killed him immediately. They can't do anything else to him. And the thing is, it's great because we really, when we came up with them, we wanted to make, you know, the next Spider-Man. We wanted that. He's very heavily influenced by what we felt reading Spider-Man.
Sure.
And I think, like a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do with him in our minds, like we had this great, you know, future for him. A lot of that, I think, got covered by new characters, like, you know, like I think like Kamala Khan is like a perfect example of like what we would have loved to have done.
Sure.
But she makes more sense in that she's representing a different viewpoint, where ours was literally the white guy from the Midwest who came out to New York. And while I think they're both valuable approaches, I don't know if it's, I mean, if that's a viewpoint that's popular, right? I think I would love to do a dual story where you have not a debate sort of thing, but it's sort of like the viewpoint from the clueless kid that came from the Midwest, and then like a Kamala Khan who's lived in the city all of her life, and been a person of a different upbringing.
Yeah, background and upbringing, sure.
That would have been a really cool dynamic, I think. Yeah. Also, I mean, he's a little older than her, so I mean, he's obviously going to think he knows more. And the truth is, they both don't know anything.
You should. This sounds like a good pitch for Mark Benicia.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, it's something. I mean, I've told Sean about it a long time ago. I thought it would be kind of an interesting thing because one of the things we've always done with him is constantly show that Gravity is wrong, and he learns from his mistakes. And I think that's a valuable viewpoint these days.
Agreed.
When everybody is either so wrong or so right, there's never a guy that makes a mistake and then learns from it and says, oh, I need to be this way, not this way.
I think that's very smart, and I agree with you. And
I think there's room for that in superheroes for people, because that's what it's about, right? They're supposed to inspire people to be better. So.
What was your creator-owned thing that took place in Wisconsin that you and Sean did?
Oh, that was Sean. That's all Sean's. That's The Waiting Place.
The Waiting Place.
Yeah,
right, I never get the title right. I was going to say
it's like a teenage coming of age story.
Yeah.
He's actually working on more of that, I think.
Oh, that's great, because I was going to ask, would you guys consider, it seems like now the environment is even better. That kind of book, would you guys consider re-putting it out and everything?
Absolutely. I mean, he's always looking at stuff like that, because we kind of put a capper on it. We put a he reprinted it with IDW, and we did a 8-page story of like where are they now.
Oh, funny.
And yeah, I think he's talking to somebody about maybe doing more of that in the future, but
excellent.
I don't want to speak for him. I don't want to reveal anything. So.
No, I understand. No, I mean, again, getting to know you, looking at the stuff you did with Sean, looking at the stuff you did with Tim Seeley and stuff. I'm too old for GI Joes. I was already trying to date when the 80s GI Joe shit was coming out.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, but I respected it, and it was fun when Devil's Due had the license, and you guys were cutting your teeth on those great GI Joe books. And again, there's GI Joe stuff at Mike's Cadence gallery that is for sale. But I wanted to show another great thing here. This is Young Justice again?
Yeah, I think that was a Free Comic Book Day cover because it has Batman Brave and the Bold version on there. So
yeah, I assumed as much. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love playing in those little sandboxes. It's not totally what I do naturally, but it's so close that it's so easy for me to do. It's so fun to draw like that.
I get it, man. No, and again, well, and also there have been times, and we're going to get to some Green Arrow pages, but I know there have been times where initially, when you've taken over a book, they've asked you to kind of, emulate or to come close to the style of the person that's leaving. And I remember on Green Arrow, and now I'm forgetting who was it. Oh, it was Cliff.
Yeah, I used to be that. I mean, I'm still kind of am. I still get asked to work on books, and because somebody else couldn't, and so when I came on to Green Arrow, Black Canary, Cliff left because there was something else going on, and he was working on something else. So, and I think the book was doing pretty well under him. So they asked if. The way they put it was like, your art kind of already exists in that universe. Can you kind of push it more towards Cliff? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
And of course, I mean, really, and truly, Mike, you'll forgive me that a lot of this art is greatest hits stuff rather than what you're currently doing. But again, as you said,
no, that's fine.
This is obviously when you were still putting stuff on paper.
Yeah.
99% of your stuff is digital now. But I do appreciate your ability to be a chameleon as you got into your Green Arrow run, and it was no longer written by Judd Winnick and others came on the book and stuff. I think there were some really interesting moments. Of course, you created, what was your villain's name again?
We created a bunch of villains, actually. I think like 3 of them ended up being on the show.
What was her name? Like the arrow.
Cupid was the big one.
Cupid.
Yeah. She was the
sexy archer.
Superhero stalker.
Yes.
Like
Fatal Attraction.
She was like a Delta Force commando that it became like I think she like lost her memory, and she's also it's too many characters that she was like, she was Harley Quinn, but she was also like Merlin. She was like all of these different characters rolling.
No, I understand a little from a psychotic standpoint. Typhoid Mary.
Yeah, she's absolutely like that. She
is
a lot like Typhoid Mary. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Well, again, a reader's observation. And again, forgive me, I'm not your accountant. I don't want to need to get into your business. Did they compensate you for?
Yeah. They gave us for every character. There's like, I forgot what they call it. It's like it's just essentially a buyout for designing that character. So.
Good.
Yeah. So it's not I'm not rich, but yeah, they give you a little bit for each one. So
yeah. No, so Ordway has told me this. Other creators have told me this, both on the positive side and the negative side. And in some cases, DC heard or watched the interview and be like, oh yeah, we forgot about that. We apologize. Here's a check.
Yeah, I think I had to remind him a couple of times, but yeah, it was fine. It was so Cupid, Dodger.
Okay.
Was on there, and I always forget this guy's name. He had this superpower where he was super sensitive to hearing. I forgot what his name was, but he was on the Arrow show.
That's great. No, that's awesome, man. Too goddamn funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's another great Green Arrow page, and with Hal there as well, and Canary and everything, and a couple aliens.
Yeah.
Looks like it's a Scooby-Doo moment, though.
It's a really, that's a Judd Winnick kind of page, because it's essentially everything in it is real. He's real corny with his jokes. I think those are like people wearing alien space suits. Like they caught these guys and they turn out to be just dudes in alien suits.
Yeah, it's a Scooby-Doo moment, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Johnson. Yeah. I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling superheroes.
There's a weird one where there's a weird page in that issue also where Ollie and Dinah are blackmailing some soldiers by like filming them like naked with like a dominatrix lady and sheep and stuff. And I was like, this is pretty weird for a DC comic.
Hilarious. That's fantastic. Man, honestly, you and Judd and Andrew as well, you guys had great runs on it. And also, and I wish maybe by then you weren't well, no, you would have had to have been paper. I have no idea. You'll explain to me. But I always said that when Bill Sienkiewicz was inking you, it didn't look like Bill. It didn't look like you. It was something different.
Yeah.
And it really was like, wow, that's a very interesting combination. If you don't mind talking about that for a second.
Yeah, that was the later issues of Green Arrow, Black Canary. So yeah, I was still working on paper. And what it was is I would that's how I kind of learned how to do it on the computer. So because I was like, well, I'm going to draw these pages for Bill Sienkiewicz. I know he's going to redraw everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just going to draw it on the computer and then print it out and then send it to him. And I did that. And he just went to town. And it was kind of like a soft launch of my digital career.
No, that's cool though. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's his and the pages I did for Trinity that Jerry Ordway inked are the only pieces of my own art that I keep for myself.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Jerry's a prince of a guy. He's
amazing.
Yeah.
I love him. I love talking to him. It's wild that he is nice to me and knows who I am.
Please, at least you're a peer.
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same way as Jimmy Podcast. How you doing? You know, like who the fuck wants to talk to me other than to help them sell shit and everything? And it's like it is
pretty wild. Yeah.
Mitch Halleck, the Terrificon owner, is really good friends. They do a weekly podcast, in fact. And,
I didn't know he was on that.
Yep.
Wow, that's cool.
Really, really good. Yeah, and it's great because they're fearless. They go to the theater, they see a movie, and they go to like a diner or something and eat and record their podcast. All right, what do we think of the movie or the TV show or whatever? It's pretty funny. Yeah, and I know Jerry does that weekly, so I'm like, all right, I kind of pick my places of when to talk to Jerry on Rumble and stuff. But no, he's amazing. So as you said, first of all, and I've told you this before, and I've told Seeley and other creators, I always feel a kinship with comic book cartoonists because a lot of the same moves, especially in the last 20 years, I feel like I'm doing with my skills as a broadcaster or whatever. And as you know, I mean, I got downsized last year from radio. No regrets. It's okay. It was just business. It's and I still am really good friends with my former managers and stuff. Mm-hmm. But that said, I really kind of went off on my own. I'm like, Word Balloon's working. People like it. Let me see if I can kind of make it into a thing. And thankfully, because of the audience and the support I get from them, I'm able to stay in my place and pay my bills. And it was really great to hear this from Baltimore. And I know after you're part of that first wave, I think, after establishing yourself at DC and Marvel, you're like, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not, no, you never say never, but you know, and I'm thrilled that things are working out for you from a creator-owned standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know if, would I be the first wave? Wouldn't that be the image creators?
Yeah, well, you're right. As far as that goes, you're 100% right.
They're definitely a wave of us that came around that time. I got to give credit where credit's due is that, if I hadn't met Tim, I don't think I would be making my own comics. I mean, that's
Wow.
sort of, I mean, you wouldn't know it by talking to him now because he's always, he's got to have that, that job that pays him money. But he always wants to make his own thing. And it kind of, you spend a lot of time with somebody, it kind of rubs off on you. And you're like, well, what can I do that's my own? And then you do it, and then somebody likes it, and then you kind of get the bug. And then I understand why everybody wants to make their own comic. Because before it was just like, when I started out, me and Sean McKeever made Gravity, and it's like, all we want to do is make Spider-Man. And I think there are a lot of people that are like that. And
agreed.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because I used to have a chip on my shoulder about that. If somebody because Kirkman was going on rants for a long time around that time about how, come on, take the blinders off, come follow me, that kind of thing. And
the manifesto back in 2009, absolutely, where he was in front of the green screen and like, listen, stop giving your best ideas to DC and Marvel, because they're corporations. They're not, it's not mom and pop that are, taking care of you and stuff like that. Make your own shit. Do what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing about that isn't valid. But also at the time I was just like, part of it was fear. And the other part was like, I kind of like, drawing stuff and getting paid for it and not.
Yeah. Having health insurance. Sure.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that's left to the, unseen forces when you're doing it all yourself. But it is incredibly rewarding, and I can't imagine not doing that sort of thing now. But yeah, I love making my own comics, and I think there were a bunch of us that started, like, I think Layman was making those before
Johnny,
all of us, though. Yeah.
Well, and that's honestly, Mike, that's why you're right about the Image guys. But I do kind of think of the guys that came after Robert, and like in the last 10 or 15 years.
There was definitely a boom around that time, because it was us. It was like Jamie and Kieran on Wicked and Divine, and East of West, and all that stuff.
Yeah, Johnny Hickman, absolutely, yeah.
Fear Agent, all of that was going on around that time.
Remember? Yeah.
Well, whatever 15 books Rick would have at that time,
yeah.
So yeah, there was a small like pocket of 5 years where, a lot of us were putting out number ones, and they were kind of taking off. And I don't know if it's like that now. It certainly didn't work that way for Battle Bug, but I know that it's like that everywhere, but a lot of comics aren't shooting a number one the way they used to.
No, but maybe, and I don't know, it seems like the creator-owned people have found their audience, and it's enough of an audience to keep it going and stuff.
The economy of comics is different now. So
yes.
It's like a lot of people are taking the whole internet model to heart and nurturing their fan base that way.
Yes.
Whereas I used to use the internet to network with people to find jobs, and now they're using it as a way. People are using it as a way to just, you're my audience. I'm talking directly to you now.
Yeah, that's how I use it, certainly.
Yeah.
And, have you considered have you done crowdfunding for
I've never done a Kickstarter or anything for myself, but I have been talking about it, and I think I probably will within a year, because I already know what it is I'm going to do and everything.
Oh, that's great, Mike. That's terrific.
I just don't haven't really talked about it because that stuff's intimidating. But I'm friends with Ryan Brown, who's done like 73 successful Kickstarters, so hopefully he can give me some advice. And
I'm doing Brownie and Charles Soule's panel at C2E2, and one of my favorite Ryan Brown memories is, and I love Evan Dorkin, Milk and Cheese, great guy. Evan can Evan's a sweetheart, but he can also like kind of pick a fight just sometimes.
He's one of those guys like Shaken where I'm saying you're scared of that guy, but he's one of the nicest guys.
Such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I was on a panel with him, Jeremy Bastian, and Ryan Brown talking about creator-owned comics. He had no idea who Ryan was. Ryan starts working his mojo and talking about Kickstarter and stuff. And Evan does a total 180 of, who the fuck is this kid too? Wow, this guy really understands this shit. And it was so lovely. Like after the panel, Evan's like, hey, can I ask you more questions about crowdfunding? And Ryan's like, yeah, of course, any problem. And it was just so great. It was just like he slowly Jedi mind tricked Evan into, wow, he's good. I like so no, and yeah, Brown.
Ryan's got a little Eddie Haskell magic about him. He can worm his way into your heart.
Dude, man, I like to share. I get a lot of great press releases from people that want to market their horror movies, and you and Seeley and Brownie are like these connoisseurs of these C-level movies. And maybe C-level.
I think it's unfair of you to put them into my category as far as that goes, because I think
you're the king.
They like good movies. They're aficionados of good horror movies, whereas I like to watch the terrible stuff on purpose. So
well,
I don't know if I'm the demographic.
Well, but I love that you're paying attention to what comes out in these C-level movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And all right, I'm going to ask you because I just had the director on last week. Gary Jones is his name, and he, as a producer and director, has discovered this Eastern European actor whose stage name is Roberto Bronzi.
And the Charles Bronson lookalike.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And he just made a prison escape movie with him that is absolutely fantastic. A lot of fun.
I haven't seen any of his movies. He doesn't speak English, does he?
I didn't ask Gary directly that.
I think he just shows up in movies and just doesn't say anything because it adds to the mystique.
He's got dialogue in this film. In fact, I'll even put up an image of it.
Is it dubbed?
Well, no, and it's him talking, but I have a feeling kind of like in the 60s when they would have beautiful foreign actresses just phonetically kind of say their dialogue, and it's like, all right, their inflection's wrong, but you don't care. It's fine. Here, this is the movie I'm uploading you now.
It's real spooky how much he looks like him.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Robert Bronzi escaped from Death Block 13.
Death Block 13.
Yeah, I think they're trying to remind us of, and there's one of his titles is like a play on Death Wish, and yeah, man, it's truly like the director was awesome. Could not have been nicer. Everybody, I swear to God, I'm going to put it up one more time. And
those are like the movies that they put up in like Tracy Morgan's room on 30 Rock, right. Like the fake movies.
Yes, it's a blast. And Nick Turturro is the bad guy in it. Perfect.
Oh, what happened to him? I guess now I know.
Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, Freddie Boom Boom Washington from Welcome Back, Kotter, is an agent, a DEA agent and stuff. Hilarious, fantastic.
Wow.
So yeah, man, Robert, and I told Gary, I'm like, all right, the next Bronzi movie. Again, I don't believe Bronzi speaks English, or I would try and get.
No, I don't think he does. I would love to watch one because I haven't yet, but I've known about him for a while. I didn't know that he was like a little cottage industry. I didn't know they were just making movies for him.
Absolutely. Well, and of course, in the foreign market, these things go like gangbusters.
Yeah, I wonder if there are people that are watching these movies thinking that Charles Bronson never died.
I don't know.
Like he's like a vampire or something.
Exactly.
Charles Bronson vampire movie.
Yes, please. I got to suck your neck right now. That would be fantastic. Oh, here you go. Ed saw Mystic U. Mystic U was fun, and you created a lot of new characters. Oh, this is you. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Mike. I was thinking that was a
no.
I remember Mystic U. Absolutely. So this is a great question from Ed. Mystic U was fun. You created a lot of new characters. Any interest in more storytelling there? now with these infinite frontier possibilities? Very good question, Ed.
Yeah, I would love to, and I think the writer would too. She, why am I blanking on her name? That's embarrassing.
Well, I'll look it up while we're talking. Shame on us. I hear you, man.
Yeah, this is terrible.
But yeah, great Vertigo. Wasn't it? It was a Vertigo book, right?
No, it was a mainline title, but it was geared more towards getting newer readers, maybe younger readers. It was definitely a young adult, because the writer Alice, is it
Alyssa
Whitney,
yes.
Alyssa Whitney writes young adult novels, so it's
right
on the beginning of them doing that sort of thing. And
awesome.
and so she it was kind of brilliant. It was a lot like the new Star Trek movies, and she found a way to make Zatanna new, but still keep the old continuity.
I'm with you.
So it's like this pocket universe where she's going to like a Hogwarts kind of magic school, and it had new versions of older characters, like why am I blanking on all these now? Anyway,
Saturday afternoon.
A lot of old like Vertigo-esque characters, and
like Tim Hunter and people like that, or no?
Tim Hunter was not in it, but it was characters like, it was actually old characters like
Kid Eternity or Kid
yeah, that kind of stuff. Kid Eternity wasn't in it, but
here, I'm gonna put up a cover. It's not you.
Felix Faust's son.
Oh yes, of course.
There's a lot of that stuff, and
here, hopefully this will help. I'm gonna bring up a cover, and you might this might help you.
And
but again, it's not you. Unfortunately, it's not you doing the cover. It's a painted cover.
Oh yeah, it was Juan Tedesco did the covers for those.
Oh wow,
that's awesome. He's an amazing painter. He does. He's super in demand right now, but yeah, she had ideas for that past, because we kind of left it on a cliffhanger. So
wow.
And that's June Moon, the Enchantress, and I'm forgetting the guy with the turban. Who was the old?
Oh, Ibis?
No, he was a white character back in the day, but he had a turban and a cape, and he was.
I was thinking the Fawcett character, Ibis the Invincible.
No, it's not him. Anyway, I'm being a terrible creator because I don't know anything about.
It's not Green Llama, obviously. Green Llama was a different publisher.
No, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I wonder who it was. I'm trying to think of.
It was somebody you would know if I told you, and I'm embarrassed that I can't remember. But Cain and Abel were in it. They were
that's awesome.
They worked at the school. Madame Xanadu was in it.
I love Madame Xanadu. That's
a lot of cool stuff, and I loved working on it.
That's awesome, man. No. I'm so glad Ed brought that up.
I wish we could do more. If they did more, I would be there in a heartbeat.
I hear you. Well,
I'm sorry, Alyssa, for forgetting, because it is already a long time
of
ago.
Course. Kerry says he thinks we're talking about Sargon.
Sargon, that's it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, shame on me for not remembering Sargon. Absolutely, I love all those golden.
Sargon the Sorcerer.
Yes, absolutely, hilarious.
Yeah, and Doctor 13, I think.
Was he in there as well?
There were a lot. Mr. E. Mr. E was in it.
And then that was Dr. Occult in it. I love Dr. Occult, one of the
because the person that is stuck in Dr. I don't want to give anything away.
All right, because I love Dr. Occult was one of the original Action Comics heroes, and I love like him and Slam Bradley, and some of these other street clothes heroes as much as the superheroes of the early Golden Age.
Dr. Occult and Mr. E were big parts of it. Yeah.
It says also Plop, the sentient green slime.
Plop was in it. I forgot about Plop from the old Vertigo books. Yeah.
Hilarious. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Plop was very important to Alyssa. I know that she made a big deal about having him in there.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you guys get
or whatever plop is.
Yeah, well, I hope you guys get a chance to get back to it at some point. That'd be very cool. Anything you want to promote as far as current stuff that you can talk about, maybe, unless it's all behind the scenes right now still and not ready to
well,
be.
No, there's nothing behind the scenes. I mean, everything that I'm working on, I can talk about. I mean, the stuff that's been taking up all my time lately is, I mean, of course, Mystery Science Theater 13th season. That will be on their own streaming platform they're going to put out. So that's doesn't exist yet, but they're filming it right now. And I'm working on a 3-issue run of Teen Titans Academy. Speaking of
cool.
Mystic U, it's a lot like that. And I'm also working on Ninjak with Jeff Parker now.
With Parker, yes. Yep. Very cool.
And that has been super fun. I really love working on that.
Let's find a night, seriously, a word balloon night where we'll have Parker on and the two.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Because, we've had, a lot of times I don't like having two people on because I feel like someone's going to get short shrift. But having known you guys as long as we've all known each other.
I cannot talk. I can just sit there.
Shut up. No.
I can do this.
We want you to talk. It's, please. That would be good. And Jeff's been a weekly guy because he's on my Kinescope show.
Yeah. He's one of your nerds. I've seen you guys. I've seen you guys in your old people shows.
It's true. 1949, this show, Jack Lemmon was a young man when he made this.
He's barely older than me. He should know about all this stuff.
It's you know who created that show? It's Gabe Hardman.
Oh,
We're doing the Twilight Zone.
The youngest of all of us. These oh man, somebody put like a 75-year-old's brain in a 40-year-old guy's body.
We knew that. Good Lord. 100%. It was great though, because he really was like, if it's okay, can we he's like, what do you want to do next? And I'm like, he still wants to podcast every week. I'm like, what do you want to do next? He's like, how about Golden Age television? I think he's such an old movie freak. And a lot of those great directors, writers, and actors kind of made their mark in the 60s and 70s and cut their teeth in early TV. George Roy Hill, The Sting, and Butch Cassidy, and Sidney Lumet, and John Frankenheimer, all these amazing directors. Patty Chayefsky, the great writer. And like I said, James Dean made more TV shows than he made. He only made 3 movies before he died. He made a couple dozen TV shows. So it's kind of cool, like looking at these people when they're young. Rod Steiger, amazing old classic Hollywood actors. This is their first gigs.
Rod Steiger's been a bunch of movies that I like, which is not a good thing.
Yes, he has. You're right about that.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of my horror movies that I watch.
You're 100% right. Absolutely.
He's always entertaining in them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he brings this class. Well, it's like poor Ray Milland when Ray Milland got older and would just take anything. And as I've learned, especially being in the same union as these guys, the Screen Actors Guild, it's like, they take these shitty jobs to really maintain their health insurance as they were getting older.
Sure.
And really, So, that's all these men and women, and again, that's awesome. I'm glad they get the gigs. I'm glad the directors kind of recognize that having Vera Miles at 75 will elevate your movie and stuff. And same with Steiger and stuff. So, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Anyway, we got to wrap. I'm so glad you mentioned
I want to mention I have a book coming that I'm working on with Rafer Roberts called The Rock Gods of Jackson, Tennessee. But that's going to be a while, but I wanted to mention it because I am working on that.
Excellent.
And that's it.
Okay. No problem, man. No, and we'll do a Ninjak talk on Word Balloon in the next few weeks, maybe in December. Everybody, again, Mike's Cadence page, you can see it right there on the crawl, but it's also right at the top of the chat as well. And let me just again, check out all this amazing stuff that Mike did back in the day. And I'm telling you, it's a fucking steal. It seriously is a goddamn steal.
Thank you, John. That's very kind of you.
Well, that's good. And this is an art buying crowd, and they will find amazing pages at very reasonable prices. And that's great. I'm happy to help you sell, bud.
Thank
So
you.
you know that. So absolutely. Thanks everybody, and thanks for watching. In just 5 minutes, I'm going to be talking to Ryan Dunleavy and Fred Van Lente, another two of my favorite people. As you look at Mike's face, you know,
Action guys,
absolutely, action presidents,
yep.
action philosophers, the comic book history of comic books, the comic book history of animation.
Always, yeah, those guys are fun.
And yeah, and I just love this kind of documentary comic book format that they've created. I hung out with them in Baltimore. I love those guys. I love Fred's wife, Crystal Skillman, my New York playwright. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking to them in just 5 minutes. So join us then. Until